So let's just clear up the titling of this little series that I've got going on here before anything else. I'm going to call this one God Part 4, because really the way that I've been titling it is dumb. It was like God and then God the sequel and then God the sequel Part 2, which is eerily reminiscent of the Rambo franchise. The first Rambo was called First Blood, the second one was called Rambo First Blood 2, and the third one was called Rambo 3, which is really stupid when you think about it. If you're going to follow along logically with what you've been calling your movies, you should call it Rambo, well, no, you should call it First Blood 3 Rambo 2, which is just retardedly complicated. If you were wondering, that joke is not mine. I got it from the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I thought it was fucking hilarious, and I thought it equally applied to how stupid I've been calling these. So let's just call this one God Part 4, and today we're going to be talking about atheism. So first of all, I want to say that, again, I'm stoked that a lot of you guys are just as interested and educated, and a lot of you guys way more educated than me on these topics. And I'm glad that, you know, I do read, I mentioned it last time, but I was reading through a lot of the comments, and because this topic is so personally fascinating to me, I get a kick out of reading the comments. And I've noticed that the more videos, the first video there was a lot of "fuck you, Jesus rules" and "fuck you, it's all a lie," and then the second one was a little bit more, well, what's really going on here? What? Oh, you got? Oh, okay, cool. But I heard that. Oh, okay, that's cool. And then like the third one, I saw a few arguments, but for the most part, it was intelligent discourse, or at least an attempt at intelligent discourse. So let's just roll with this momentum. Let's keep going. So atheism, in a very basic definition of the word, means someone who doesn't believe in God or gods. And there's a lot of different ways of going about atheism. It's not just simply I don't believe in God. It's a little bit more complicated than that, because there are atheists that will tell you that there is absolutely no way that God exists, and then there are atheists that will tell you, I don't personally believe that God exists, but I'm open to him existing. I just don't see any proof for him. That's what's called an atheistic agnostic. I identify myself personally as agnostic. So let's take a look at that word. A means without, and gnosis means knowledge. So agnostic literally means without knowledge. Someone who identifies as agnostic is basically saying, I don't have knowledge on that topic. There's no way for me to know. It's beyond human comprehension to suggest whether or not God actually exists. By the way, if you're stumbling on this video you've never seen a Call of Duty video or one of my videos, and you're wondering why the hell this asshole is talking about God in a Call of Duty video, it's because I've made hundreds of Call of Duty videos, and I've talked a lot about Call of Duty, and one day I got bored and decided to talk about random things, and that's just what I'm doing now. And the response has been great when it comes to this topic, so I like it. I'm going to keep it going. What I like about atheism is that they use a very Socratic approach when it comes to the topic of God. And when I say Socratic, I'm referring, and I don't mean to patronize anybody who knows the things that I'm talking about right now, because I'm sure a lot of you guys know. In fact, I'm positive a lot of you guys know, because I've been reading these comments. So Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher who was around in the 4th century BC, and he is arguably the most influential philosopher when it comes to Western civilization. His basic approach when it came to trying to establish whether or not something was true was that you had to challenge it as harshly as you possibly could. You had to hold it under strict scrutiny and study it down to its most basic elements. Everything needs to be true about what you're saying, and if it's not, then he was going to find out. He was an incredibly intelligent man. He pissed off a lot of intellectuals at his time. Eventually he was charged with corrupting the youth and was sentenced to death. And he died very admirably. In fact, he was given an opportunity to leave. One of his friends bribed one of the jail guards, got himself in and tried to break him out, and Socrates said, no, I'm going to respect the law and accept the sentence that I've been given. In fact, when he took a poison hemlock plant, his last words were reminding his friend that he owed a rooster to someone and that he don't forget to pay it back, which I think is a pretty cool story. But atheists, a lot of intellectual atheists will use the Socratic approach, which is challenging religions on whether or not what they're saying is true. And if you do believe in something, anything, it's a good idea to challenge it. In fact, when I talked about Buddha, I completely overlooked the fact that he was very Socratic in his approach too. Buddha would always say, don't take what I'm telling you on face value. In fact, don't believe a word I'm saying. If you are interested in what I'm saying, you need to challenge me on that, and you need to challenge it within yourself. Which is, I think, a big mistake that a lot of the Western religions make, is that they don't tell you to do that at all. They tell you that this is the case, and this is what you believe, and that's that. Don't challenge it at all. If you challenge it, it's looked on very suspiciously, which I think intellectually is basically like you're doing yourself an incredible disservice. How can you know if something's true if you don't challenge it? So while I'm not completely atheist, I do admire how atheists very bravely stand up to people leveling all sorts of bullshit accusations at them. Just look all over YouTube and you'll find a bunch of videos of intellectual atheists making extremely valid points against people that are very closed-minded. That's my take on that. Hope you guys enjoyed.